Welcome to BizNation Radio. I am your host, Michelle Johnson. Are you ready to obtain the tools you need to start and grow your small business enterprise? Do you realize that you were made to overcome, you were made to conquer, and you were made to win? God has a plan, and it includes you. Your best is going to happen as you obey His command to come and walk, focused on purpose toward your destiny and your future. Grab paper and pencil and join us right back after this brief message from our sponsors. Keep in mind, BizNation is dedicated to providing practical advice on small business ownership. Our goal is that you will succeed. We'll be right back. Looking for your Water Walker Entrepreneurial Weekly Tips? Water Walker Development is so excited about partnering with Speaking Out Weekly News. Every Wednesday in the paper, you'll have an awesome tip, a business-related tip, a moving forward tip that will help you get started and continue moving forward in your entrepreneurial pursuits. Look for us in Speaking Out Weekly News.
Do you have IRS problems? I'm Vern with TaxCore, and I'm a former IRS revenue officer right here in Huntsville. I know all of the IRS techniques and procedures, where they will search for your money, and exactly how to protect you from them. Our number is 256-489-5596. The IRS has over 4,000 collection officers. They issued over 600,000 tax liens. The IRS will come after you aggressively if you owe them. You want me to fight for you. Don't face them alone. Call me today at TaxCore, 256-489-5596.
Thank you for tuning in to BizNation. My name is Michelle Johnson. As usual, we're starting the show with our quote of the day. Our quote today comes from Peter Drucker. I had the unique opportunity of meeting him. He is one of the greatest business minds, and so I was so excited to be able to meet and spend time in his presence. But he quoted this, and it says, "The best way to predict your future is to create it." And so I absolutely agree that you can accept what's been thrown at you, or you can throw it back and create the future that you were designed to live, that you were destined to live, the future that has been imparted to you through vision and through purpose. And so I love what Peter Drucker had to say, and I'll just repeat it one more time. The best way to predict your future is to create it. I'm excited about today's show, as I am about every show. But today we're going to talk about bootstrapping, and I feel like I can be an expert in that particular term. We're going to talk about not necessarily how to finance your business. We're going to use that in a future show, but I want to talk a little bit about bootstrapping. Before we do that, just a reminder that Water Walker is committed to the development of future and current entrepreneurs. Our business model speaks to innovation and creativity, and we aspire to help you bridge the gap between knowing and doing. Our programs combine practical business thought, core values, strategic planning, and tactical execution. We simply believe in the ability of inspiring entrepreneurs to be more. But the truth of the matter is that so many of us give up on our dreams, walk away from purpose, and become discouraged and fail to follow through. And one of the reasons that we do that is because we don't have the money, the financial resources to finance our dream. So it's important that as we talk about the concept of bootstrapping, let me define bootstrapping for you first. Bootstrapping is simply defined as a situation in which an entrepreneur starts a company with little capital. An individual is said to be bootstrapping when he or she attempts to found and build a company from personal finances or from operating revenues of the new company. Bootstrapping can be beneficial as the entrepreneur is able to maintain control over all decisions. On the downside, this form of financing may place unnecessary financial risk on the entrepreneur. Further, bootstrapping may not provide enough investment for the company to become successful at a reasonable rate. Now that we've defined it, let's dig in. And many of the things that we will talk about and the tips for bootstrapping are not new to you, but I want to make sure, and many are self-explanatory, but I want to take a minute to go through some of the key tips in bootstrapping your business. But before I do that, let me say this. Bootstrapping is not for the faint. And I say that over and over again. I bootstrapped my way through the ownership of my franchise. I didn't necessarily have all of the funds available. We did use the resources, the income, the investments, so to speak, from the current business. And so that meant that in some cases, there was not a lot of residual to do some extra things. Now, with that said, 7 years later, as I've sold the business and I've moved forward, it's important to note as well that on the plus side, although there was some struggle on the downside, on the plus side, I don't have a loan to pay off. I don't have a loan at 10% that has, compounded over the last 7 years to pay off. And so the proceeds from the sale of my business are Michelda's proceeds. And that's a good position to be in. But I must be honest and say that there were some times and some moments when I literally thought I was going to pull my hair out and not function as appropriately as I needed to function as a bootstrapping entrepreneur. There were days and moments when I didn't. So I'm very authentic and I'm very honest about the process and the struggle. I don't want to feed you a line. I want to be very honest in that there were moments when I couldn't understand how we would survive the next day, but we did. There were moments when I didn't know how the rent would be paid, but it was paid. And so with bootstrapping, you have to understand that there's a level of uncertainty, there's a level of not knowing, and you have to be willing to make a greater sacrifice than you would if you had that money in the bank from your loan. The challenge we have, and I'm just going to say this, especially as African American entrepreneurs, our access to cash is not what it used to be. Now, I can say that because 20 years ago, my access to cash was a little bit different. In fact, a year before I started my business, the access to cash was different, which is one of the reasons why I did not get a loan. I had never had an issue or a challenge accessing cash from bank or other resources when I was a business owner and an entrepreneur in Atlanta. When I moved back to Alabama and I started the business, I thought when I get ready and if I absolutely need it, my sources will be there, the banks will be there, I shouldn't have an issue. But what happened was the economy, it dropped. There were some challenges. I started in 2007, and as many of you know, that was the beginning of an economic plunge that made access to cash even more challenging. And so by the time that I thought that maybe it would be nice to have that cushion, I had waited too late. This is my truth. And so here's what I want to encourage you with. If you've decided that bootstrapping is the way that you're going to go, I need you to take your faith with you. Listen, BizNation is a faith-based, I speak about entrepreneurship from a faith-based Christian perspective. You need to take your faith with you if you're going to bootstrap. You also need to take with you the promise that you were told to get out of the boat and get on the water and do what you're doing. If you do not take those things into this process with you, when the money is low, when you don't have food in the refrigerator, when you have to pay your employees before you pay yourself, you won't be able to survive. And so I need to be very honest that the process and that there were some times of great abundance. There were some times of great harvest, but there were also some very lean times and some times when I could not afford gas. And so I need to be very honest about that. I also need to be very honest about the banks that I approached with a multi-million-dollar business. We're doing great in sales who told me no. I need to be honest about the people that I went to that I requested cash from who laughed at me. And I'm talking about people that look like me, people that should have understood the struggle, people that were never in my corner. I need to be honest about that, and I need to applaud them for telling me no, for not giving in, for standing up for whatever they felt like they needed to do, because that no, again, as I've said in prior shows, you have to understand the power of no. That no was instrumental in pushing me forward. Now, in some people, that no will capsize your boat and cause you to stop walking, to give up, to walk away, to close the doors. But those no's meant for me, I'm going to show you that I am meant to be here, that my business will be a success, and that I am meant to succeed. And so listen, when we talk about bootstrapping, I want you to be firm in your faith that you are designed to win, that you are destined to overcome. You cannot, and listen, let me just say, I say this, money has zero power. I understand that money is powerful. Don't get me wrong. But what I don't want you to get into the stance of is that money is more powerful than the faith that you have in your God. If God has told you to go, if he has given you vision, then he will make good and provide provision for the vision. I feel like I'm preaching here today, but let me just say, if you're gonna bootstrap it, do not leave your faith behind. Take your faith with you. Take prayers with you. Get key prayer partners who understand what you're doing, the road you are taking, and the steps you are making. And if you begin to do that, you will see that you can survive and you can make it. I have some tips that I want to share with you about bootstrapping. As you know, economic development and growth in our community is key to sustainability. The backbone of our society are the mom and pop shops that help us spur the economy. Stay tuned. BizNation will be right back. Having questions about your next? Looking for a faith booster to get you to your next level of living? Water Walker 101, Moving Forward with Purpose, is the answer to what you need. This book is designed to help you move out of your boat of comfort and conformity and place you on a path of purpose and destiny. The journey is not always easy, but the insider knowledge is not in the boat, he's on the water. Order your copy today by calling our office at 256-325-0703. Again, order your copy of Water Walker 101, Moving Forward with Purpose, by calling our office at 256-325-0703. You can also order by visiting the website at waterwalkerministries.com. That's waterwalkerministries.com, or you can order at amazon.com. I can't wait to get your feedback. See you on the water. Looking for your Water Walker Entrepreneurial Weekly Tips? Water Walker Development is so excited about partnering with Speaking Out Weekly News. Every Wednesday in the paper, you'll have an awesome tip, a business-related tip, a moving forward tip that will help you get started and continue moving forward in your entrepreneurial pursuits. Look for us in Speaking Out Weekly News. Hello and welcome back to BizNation Radio. I am Michelle Johnson and I'm a water walker. Stepping out of the boat into entrepreneurship is not for the faint of heart. It takes courage, faith, tenacity, and belief in yourself. Belief that you can do it. BizNation is a production of Water Walker Development, and we are committed to helping you not only step out of the boat, but to provide you with the tools necessary to successfully grow and develop your small business enterprise. We're talking about bootstrapping today. We're talking about, more importantly, that as you bootstrap, take your faith with you. I want to give you some tips on bootstrapping. And listen, these tips are in no particular order. They're in no particular level of priority. Just things to consider if you've decided to bootstrap your way through in your business. Number one, you want to adjust to the concept of working for free. That means literally closely examining your personal budget. And I have a friend who's developing a budget tool that hopefully will be able to roll out before the end of the year that will help you in maintaining and establishing your budget. But that means understanding your personal budget and eliminating all unnecessary cost in spending, eating out, cable, TV bill, downsizing in every area in order to be able to realize your dream. Huge amounts of capital at the beginning don't ensure that you have the stamina or plan to succeed. And so it's a matter of being able to work your vision, baby. Number two, that you can carefully examine your cell phone plan and determine what services you are using and the things you aren't, and adjust accordingly. And I recommend every consumer to do that, not just an entrepreneur who is bootstrapping his or her way through, but I recommend that every consumer call your phone company, look at new plans, assess what you need, look at how much usage you have, and adjust accordingly. I found myself paying upwards of $400 a month for my cell phone bill, and it took a phone call for me to realize that I wasn't supposed to have been paying that much. And so I want you to make sure that you're doing that. You need to start selling your business immediately. As an entrepreneur, you have to get the word out. And so when I bootstrapped my way through opening Edible Arrangements, I opened in October, but I started advertising about Edible Arrangements in June. I started advertising in May. I started talking to people. I started quizzing people on it. I started making it known that we were coming. We developed flyers. We passed out flyers. We created a buzz about Edible Arrangements. We had to do that primarily because this particular franchise did not have a brand presence in my market. And so it was important that I build that brand presence, that I begin to talk about and explain what Edible Arrangements was all about. Today, 7 years later, you see the commercials, you see the print ads, you see it everywhere so you understand. But can you imagine 7 years ago when no one in the state of Alabama had ever heard of Edible Arrangements? It was important that I build that brand recognition. And so we started that many months before we opened in October. But once we opened, they were ready to partake, and we had to make sure that we were ready as well. So you need to eat, talk, sleep, and breathe your business. Many people wait until all of the back-end office stuff is complete before they start selling it, but you need to be able to generate profit and income as quickly as possible. And so as soon as you have everything in place, you need to generate your buzz. You need to decide, do you really need a website the first year of your business? And in most cases, probably not. I never had a website for my consulting business. Consider doing what we called a fly sheet back then. And I had a fly sheet. I had a postcard type thing. I had those things in writing that spoke to what I did, but that was a one-time cost versus an annual maintenance cost and updating. Because here's the key. I see a lot of websites that don't have up-to-date, accurate information. So it's more than just developing a website. Now, you can go in and with low cost, develop a website that has very static information, information that does not change, information that's very basic about your organization, that would introduce a person to your organization. And then, of course, information on how to follow up, how to contact you, and that kind of thing. But if you're going to be interactive, if you're going to include up-to-date, relevant information, you also need to either learn how to update your website through WordPress or some of the other software platforms that are out there. If you're not going to do that, then you need to hire a web developer or someone that can maintain your site. The worst thing is to go to a website and all of the information is outdated. dated, that the information dates back 4 or 5 years or even a year or 2 years. And so it's important that if you're going to invest the cost in a website, that you have a plan on how to update that information. Now, there are also key ways that you can get around that. You can go to your local college or university and you can seek intern students that are looking for points and grades and credits toward their graduation and toward their classes. And you can certainly employ those individuals to help you with that process. Again, always looking for low-cost ways of maintaining that website or maintaining your domain. What I do like is that now you can do some free things as well. Social media is probably and has probably expanded beyond the needs of a website. I would suggest at no cost that you develop a Facebook page, a Facebook social media page, that you tie that into your personal page on Facebook. And listen, let me just say this because I'm trying not to get on my soapbox, but I will for just 5 seconds here. If you are promoting your business on Facebook, be very cautious about what you say on your personal page. Be very cautious about your thoughts and your opinions and your subjective items. You want people to embrace your product. Especially what I found is in controversial issues, we tend to spew out things without having and taking the time to evaluate what we're saying and making sure that in all of your postings that you are endearing people closer to you and not pushing away. Now, listen, I don't compromise my faith in God. I do not, absolutely will not compromise my faith in God. And so I have to be careful that I have a sphere of influence and that I'm very cautious of what I post, but there is one area that will not be compromised. None of those areas, but we have to be sure that we are cautious of what we say via social media. You might want to consider leasing computer equipment. You can lease some of your equipment in a very cost-efficient manner with low monthly payments that do not require a lot of upfront cost and provide a short-term solution until the business can handle the payment. You can also find refurbished computer equipment that is much cheaper than purchasing newer items. You might consider using the office space of an incubator or find low-cost office space plus an avenue. This can be an avenue that would provide you access to technology at a low cost. You might consider staying at home. Listen, if you are not receiving customers or clients into your business, if people are not knocking on your door to purchase your product, then your first year, your first 2 years, your first 10 years, it is okay to work from home. We have the Atlanta bread companies and the Starbucks and the library, Barnes and Nobles. Now, we have so many, I'm not promoting any of them. I'm just saying there are so many places that you can go and conduct the business that you need without having to meet at an office. And so when you add up the value of that and look at paying, $500 to $1,000 a month to maintain an office that no one comes to visit, you've got to make sure that that makes sense. You may want to seek vendors who will allow you to obtain necessary product and inventory on a net 30 basis versus a pay-as-they-deliver basis. And then you might want to consider taking pre-orders and ensure that your pay is timely. There's so many things that you can do as a bootstrapper in making sure. And so being a bootstrapper means in essence, that I work smart and not hard, that I look at everything that I'm doing, that I'm in tune with my balance sheet. Your balance sheet will tell you the health of your organization, not just running your financial statements. And so you want to constantly look at that balance sheet and make sure that you understand where you are and what you're doing to get there. Keep your purpose and your vision ever present before you so that you know that you're working toward a goal that is much higher than you. I've always had a phrase, short-term sacrifice for long-term gain. And that, to me, my friends, is what bootstrapping is all about. We'll be right back.
Radar Production Company is an audio-video company providing our clients with professional quality recordings. Every project is important and every client is special to us. Radar Production Company offers the following services: recording studio, commercials, voiceover and jingles, music videos, mixing and mastering, music production, press kits, artist development.
For more information, visit radarproduction.com or call us at 309-750-4801.
BizNation truly believes that reading is fundamental. Serious business owners spend time connecting, reading, learning, and growing. And that is why we've built into our show the BizNation Required Reading List. Today's show is a book by Eric Ries. That's R-I-E-S. And the book is titled The Lean Startup: How Today's Entrepreneurs Use Continuous Innovation to Create Radically Successful Businesses. I love this book. I would encourage you to get it and to purchase it. Eric has a great deal of experience working with small businesses and technology companies. His book talks about the importance of using our creativity and resources to build a lean business. In addition to bootstrapping, Eric explains the importance of being able to adapt quickly and to stay ahead of the game. His advice can be applied to businesses in any industry. I have a second book I want to share as well. It's Bootstrapping Your Business by Greg Giaforte. His last name is spelled Gianforte. Start and grow a successful business with almost no money. He founded Right Now Technologies, a software company that was sold to Oracle in 2011 for $1.4 billion. Greg is a very down-to-earth person that is involved in his community and in the world of entrepreneurship. I would encourage you to look at his book and to help you walk through bootstrapping and the advantages of bootstrapping versus traditional financing and how the bootstrapping mindset can be applied to your business. As always, we don't want to close out without having our must-have apps. And so today's app is going to focus on an app called Mint. Mint. It's a free app. Mint is as good as it gets as far as financial management apps go. Created by the folks behind the popular Mint.com, Mint for your iPhone, iPad, and Android smartphones is a finance, budgeting, money management, financial management, budget planning, and online banking software that lets business owners track cash flow easily, prepare budgets, keep an eye on their finances, and accomplish a lot more money, finance, and budget-related tasks. You are then easily able to see where every dime goes and make wise decisions as far as expenses are concerned. Again, our app for today is Mint. It's a free app on your Android and Apple device. Listen, I am so excited about bootstrapping. I'm excited about the possibility of creating something from nothing. I'm excited about what faith will propel you to do. I'm excited that if you get out of the boat and start taking a step, that your faith will back you up and you will begin to take many steps as long as you focus on the one who called you to come. I'm excited about your process and I'm excited about your potential and I'm excited that your business will be a success. I don't just talk, I live what I am talking about, and I know that it can be done. And I want to encourage each and every one of you that if you believe it, you can absolutely accomplish it. There is nothing that will be and is too difficult. I am convinced as well that each individual is born with a passion and a purpose. And once you find it, you will find the key to your success. Doing what you are passionate about and doing it on purpose will open up a life of peace, joy, happiness. And when things aren't quite perfect, you can still move forward with purpose. BizNation wants to help you bridge the gap between knowing and doing. Until we talk again, keep testing your boundaries and walking on water. Having questions about your next? Looking for a faith booster to get you to your next level of living? Water Walker 101, Moving Forward with Purpose, is the answer to what you need. This book is designed to help you move out of your boat of comfort and conformity. Order your copy today by calling our office at 256-325-0703. You can also order by visiting the website at waterwalkerministries.com, or you can order at amazon.com.
For the past 30 minutes, you've been listening to BizNation Radio with your host, Michelle Johnson. BizNation Radio is a production of Water Walker Development. The executive producer is Michelle Johnson. BizNation Radio is produced and directed by Radar Production Company. Comments and views heard on BizNation Radio is for the sole purpose of information. Thank you for listening to BizNation Radio.